This is actually left over from the last.
Yeah, we can skip it. I'm fine.
Okay. Got it. All right, welcome. It is July 9th. It's 6:31. Call this meeting to order. Mrs. Hahn, roll call.
Tori Anderson.
Present.
Patty Petray.
Present.
Scott Bartle. Leslie Carlisle Burnett.
Here.
Anna Marie Moore.
Present.
Fantastic. If you'll please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'll go ahead and lead that today. I know, I never do it. I thought I would. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I never get to lead the pledge, so I thought I would do it. Okay, adoption of the agenda. I do have one small change. I would like to take out of item 6E from consent, and that just needs to be taken out because we need additional information on that. So that's the only change I have, unless anybody else has anything they want moved around.
We're removing this from tonight.
Correct. It's completely deleted from consent agenda. That's the item 6E. Okay. If there's no other changes, sorry, any motions?
Move to adopt the agenda as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That now brings us to our call to the public. Members of the board may not discuss any information that is not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for a future agenda. The board requests that all comments be limited to 3 minutes or less, and that the public refrain from the use of speech or language that is offensive or inappropriate pursuant to board policy KFA. Do I hear the crickets? All right, seeing that I don't have any cards and nobody wants to come up and entertain us, we will move on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Chestnut.
A few things to report on tonight. Not a lot, but a few things. Got an awesome picture there of our new M in the middle of Ram Stadium, and our new head football coach, Chris McDonald, who is raring to go for football season. And this picture was taken, I think, about 2 weeks ago by Willie Lang. And since Willie doesn't work for us anymore, and he wasn't doing this for in Maricopa, I had to get special permission from him to use this photo. But a great picture, and it was actually before the numbers are in and the line markers and everything. I was down there yesterday, and all of the numbers are in the yard line markers and the soccer yellow lines, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Their plan is to be done by Friday, so the end is very much in sight. The monsoon actually caused a little settling in that area that we filled on the sideline, so they pulled it up. It was actually really good timing. They were still here, and they could just fix it. And they brought the roller back out and compacted it again, so we're hoping that that will be a permanent fix there. But it looks absolutely fantastic, so it's going to be great to have that in place for football and soccer this year, and we're going to get a lot of good use out of that field. Also, found out this week who our SRO officers will be for this next school year, and we're excited about having a total of 3 this next year and for the next 3 years instead of just 1. And that's a result of a COPS grant. That's an acronym, and I don't recall exactly what that stands for, but it's federal funding that allows us to have additional SROs at very little cost to us. And so Officer Chris Evans will be at Maricopa High School, Officer Mario Ortega will be at Maricopa Wells Middle School, and Officer Jeff Pokrant will be at Desert Wind Middle School. So really looking forward to having them, and they're just such a great addition to our campus. The SRO at the high school, we have different ones over the years, but they've all just been excellent and do a really nice job of talking to the students and and have a good relationship with them on a day-to-day basis. So that'll be a great addition to our secondary schools. Today was a big day because the principals returned. You know, they never really leave. I mean, they work year-round, and they're hiring people in the summer, but they do try to get some vacation days in June. And so once we have our first principal meeting of the new school year, it feels like the school year has started. So today we had a really good day, all day, in the next room. And it wasn't just the principals, it was also the assistant principals and the TOSAs and central office and special ed director, so we had a big group in there, and I think we're launched on a good start and had a very productive day. So very exciting to have our new principal on board at Desert Wind Middle School. Renita Myers has her picture up there, and we just have really excellent principals in our district, and I really enjoy working with them, and that really is one of my favorite parts of my job. I get to supervise and evaluate them, and I'm in the middle right now of wrapping up their year-end evaluations, but we have really excellent principals in our district who I feel very fortunate to work with, and they bring a lot to the job on a daily basis. I want to remind you about this opportunity. Anyone in the audience, anybody watching in TV land, everyone's invited. This is the Maricopa Republican Club. They're hosting a fundraiser for Maricopa student scholarships and school supplies. It'll be this Saturday, July 12th, at the Duke from 6 to 8 p.m. As you can see, this is a must-attend event. And if you are planning to attend, please RSVP to martyhermanson@yahoo.com. And the suggested donation is $10 per person. The scholarship money will go straight to the Rotary Club for their Rotary scholarships. And I know they're also hoping to be able to support some school supplies for the schools. So very nice thing the Republican Club came up with. And if you can make it, we'd love to have you. I'm going to be there, so it's going to be a big night. I wanted to announce that on the 14th, which is Monday, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. We're having an IGA meeting with city staff, so I will be there, Mr. Roush, and I know they've been working on the latest version, so it'll be our first opportunity to see their revisions and what things that they have in mind. So it's been several years since we've really updated that intergovernment agreement. So not sure exactly how long that'll take, maybe a couple meetings, but I'll keep you posted on that, but we are moving forward on it. I wanted to remind you that the 2014-15 school year is right around the corner. In fact, we will not meet again until the school year has started, since we only have one meeting in July. So didn't want you to be caught unaware, but very excited about the new school year, and it's very exciting to be able to say that we have free all-day kindergarten returning at all 6 elementary schools. All schools will begin their academic focus for the new school year, and we're very excited to be able to do that. And we are registering, of course, and you can start, anybody watching on television, we should know that you can start the registration process at our website, or you can pick up a packet at any school, and be happy to register students for the upcoming school year, because it's coming up soon. On August 1st at 8 a.m., I believe that's Friday morning, we will have our annual all-staff back-to-school meeting. We don't really call it a breakfast because all you get is like a granola bar and a carton of juice. But you do get some refreshment if you're a staff member. But there's only 2 days of the year when we get the entire staff in one room, and that's the day before school starts and the day after. But it's a good way to start the school year and just celebrate some of our accomplishments and just talk about some of the things we're going to be working on. And it's a good, positive way to start the school year. Looking forward to that. So you're all invited. We'd like you to be there and get a granola bar and a juice carton. And first day of school is going to be here before you know it. August 4th is coming right up. So very much looking forward to that. And like I was reminding principals today, that's really one of the great things about our profession is that we get to have a fresh start every year, and students that get a fresh start every year also. And so our business is unique that way, and it gives us an opportunity to, really do a new job with every student that returns to us. And it's important work that we do on an annual basis, and we have teachers doing great work every day, and principals and support staff, and we're looking forward to the start, because that's, summer's a little boring. There's no students around, there's no teachers. So we're looking forward to for everybody being here on August 4th. And I think that's, one other thing. That's also the day that Arizona Department of Education will announce school and district letter grades. So as you know, our letter grade last year was a B, and we're looking forward very much to seeing the final official results, and that'll be in the news and gets a lot of press coverage. So be looking for that, and that will be a big day for that reason also. And then these next two slides are for reports at a later time.
Great, governing board member reports. Anybody have anything? No? I have one little thing. I did receive the Arizona School Board Association legislative agenda today, so I've asked to have that put on the next agenda for everyone to look at, so we do have that.
I do have something.
Oh, I knew it.
You know, I almost forgot about it. I also serve as a community impact chairperson for the Maricopa Chamber of Commerce, and during the month of July, they are collecting school supplies that will come to the students of Maricopa. So if you have any school supplies, take advantage of those sales, and you can drop them off at the chamber office, which is right near the post office on Hathaway.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Information work study items. 5A, Mr. Beckett, I think this is you, 301 Performance Plan Summary and Update.
Thank you, President Anderson, members of the governing board. I'm going to grab the clicker here from Dr. Cheston. I was asked to present just a brief overview of the 301 plan from this year and the payout. Some of these slides you will recognize from prior experiences, but we're going to go ahead and just give once again a brief overview of 301. In the fall of 2000, the initiative was passed by our voters that established this proposition to directly affect three different areas: increase teacher salaries, increase accountability among public school educational institutions, and finally to reward highly performing teachers. These were the things that were in the pamphlet whenever that proposition went out and it passed. The monies from 301 are actually divided into three different buckets, and I had to get myself used to saying buckets. That used to be a slang term that was used for my last name at one point in time in my life, and so it's been difficult getting over that. But anyways, you can see the three different buckets that are up there: Fund 11, Fund 12, and Fund 13. The Fund 11, of course, you can see the description. I'm not going to go ahead and read through those. Again, you've seen those before. But tonight, we're going to be talking specifically about Fund 12. This year's payout, in the details, you can see from the list there, we paid out nearly a little over $915,000 to employees for performance pay this year. It's terrific. It's always a wonderful time to give out those checks. I know our employees look forward to seeing those, and it's a very, very positive time for us. But 283 employees were impacted by that. And then additionally, I just wanted to break out the percentage of employees and the number of employees, and the percentage of the money that they earned. And again, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We do have a relatively heavy portion of our teachers obviously earning 100%, and again, I think philosophically, that our teachers are happy with that. And so, again, we have some things, though, that we need to consider for this year's plan. Does anybody have any comments on this particular slide?
Is this more or less than what we did last year?
The amount of money is more this year. So, yes, we actually paid out more this year than we did last year. I don't have that exact figure, but yes.
The number of teachers that received?
Probably very close to the
Okay.
same, yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We're now working through, obviously, the next cycle. The board has asked us to put together a plan for the 14-15 school year. We're working feverishly on that. In fact, we met tonight. One of the things, though, that has been asked and really demanded, really by statute, is that we build in a component that includes the teacher evaluation ranking of each one of our teachers. And as you can see from the statute 15977 from subsection B, it simply says that there needs to be a component of the plan, but then in subsection C2, it specifically says that 33% of that 40% bucket, which means all of Fund 12, 33% of that needs to be based upon the teacher's rating. Okay? And again, just to give you an idea, a reminder, I guess, of the classifications that we use here in the district, the 4 ratings that we use are highly effective, effective, developing, and I believe that's changed into partially effective now. So in case you see that one, I think they're trying to keep that effective word in there in all of these, and then finally ineffective would be the lowest ranking for teachers. And again, once again, this is something that needs to be implemented into the plan for this next coming year.
Like for this year, it was based off of the criteria that we approved, and it had to do with participating in events and things like that. Didn't part of it also have an evaluation component, or no?
It
This
did
current-
not have an
Okay.
evaluation component this year. It was based upon student achievement,
Okay.
all those
Student achievement.
professional activities, as you were listening, as well as some student surveys, average daily attendance, which I believe also was a factor in that as well. Yes, but yeah, this is new.
When you say it's 33% of the 40, this is a lot of this is going to be dependent upon the evaluations.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah. So
It's a
this
big
is-
change.
Yes, this is a huge change. And again, we have spent some time talking about this with teachers already. We met this evening as well. This is our 4th meeting. If it's okay, I'm going to go to this next slide, and we'll just kind of show you. We started this meeting back in April, about the same time that the board asked us to take some action on this, and so we've been meeting. We've had, this is an old slide, we had 18 teachers prior to this. Tonight, we had nearly 30 staff members there. So it was a good representation. But again, kind of a meeting notes summary of what we talked about. I did review with them the new legislative update that we needed to implement. We reviewed our current plan, and then we started to discuss the possibility of actually combining, meshing these two, the teacher evaluation instrument and the 301 plan together. Much of the documentation that we've been using for the 301 plan is actually identical to the information that teachers are asked to present to principals, and it's also gathered by the principals on the teacher's performance. And so I think there's been a clear-cut feeling that we're going to try to move in that direction. We're still hammering out the specifics of the details, but that is a direction at this point in time that I believe we're going to end up going, where it actually, once the teacher evaluation is completed for that school year, there will be a section on that form which will simply say, you earned this much money based upon your evaluation rating, as well as the information, the documentation that you provided for us.
Okay, so the same teacher evaluation that we're using now, are you looking at blending that?
That is correct.
Because I know that there are several other school districts that use the teacher evaluation already as part of their 301 money.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that, again, that is just a proposal. We still need to take this to the certified staff, let them review that. But again, I believe that is a direction that we are moving at this point in time. And then we did review the results of the teacher evaluations, and that was a huge concern initially. And so tonight, Mr. Nielsen, Mrs. Roden both took a considerable amount of time to disaggregate that data, and I believe it was fairly reflective of what we think our teachers are performing. It looks pretty consistent with our observation data, and I don't want to get too deep into the evaluation instrument, but we feel like we're moving in the right direction, and that the instrument is going to be a pretty accurate determination of who qualifies for what particular portion of this money. We do have a timeline established as well. As you can see, we're hoping to have committee and administrative approval by August 1st so that we can bring it in front of the teachers for that second week in August, which would place us then in an opportunity to bring it in front of the board for your second meeting in August. And that is it at this point in time.
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Sanderson.
All right, so we understand that according to state statute, 33% of the 40% has to be tied to a teacher evaluation. So with that, following state statute, do you still have to have 70% approval rating from the teachers to pass that?
Yes.
So what if they don't pass it? Does that mean you have to come up with a new evaluation tool?
No, what we would do is we'd have to come up with a new 301 plan. So the 301 plan is really the only thing that ties to that 70% vote at this point in time.
All right. All right, I like it, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
No mediocre. We're going for the top. All right, I'm sorry, anybody else have any questions for Mr. Beckett? I'm just completely monopolizing the whole thing, sorry. All right, 5B, middle school academic rewards and interventions. Dr. Chestnut.
This report is going to be pretty short. I just have one summary slide. I sent you, in the board packet, there was a document explaining this project, initiative, new expectation, and we're calling it the Middle School Academic Reward and Intervention Program. We got this idea from Vail Unified School District, and that's the Beyond Textbooks district, and they are really doing some good things in that district, have for many years, high-achieving district. And they instituted this program several years back with their middle school students, and it's worked well for them. It's helped students succeed, which is really the main purpose. And, you know, mostly carrots, but a few consequences as well. So if you read through that document, it's pretty straightforward, and really the theme of it is to reward kids for doing a good job academically and make a big deal about it, you know, because it is important to make a big deal about it. We make a big deal about football team and basketball team and, you know, track team and that kind of thing, and we need to make a big deal about academics too. And we try to do that, but this would be a new way to do that. So for middle school students, there would be 3 or 4 academic award assemblies through the year. And the first one would be really reflect on the Ames tests from this past spring. So students who meet either reading, writing, or math section, they would get a level 1 award. And the 2 middle schools would probably have different types of awards, but there would be some recognition. You passed an Ames test, I mean, that's good, right? Level 2 award would be for anybody that passed all 3 sections and had exceeding on one of them. So that's a big deal too. You get a level 2 award, and then if you exceed on all 3, you get a level 3 award. So given that good recognition, try to make it cool to do well at the secondary level it's important, and so we want to do that. So anyway, that will be done on a quarterly basis. So that's the reward part. The second part is required academic interventions, and we want to help kids improve. And so this is not a punishment, it's not punitive, it's just giving students the help they need. So the idea is that to stay out of the intervention, additional time out of your fall break, winter break, spring break, or summer break, you need to keep your grades up, you need to pass your classes, and you need to perform on Galileo assessments as well. And you got to do both. You can't just do one and not the other. So if Galileo assessments in math or reading are below standard, then those students would be asked to put in 8 hours of remediation for each deficient area over fall break. We would just do it during fall break for most students. There are going to be some other options, which I'll come back to in a moment, but most kids would probably do that, and that's the way we would address it. So that'd be the Galileo assessment portion, and that would be true for the end of first, second, third quarter, and not fourth quarter, but Galileo only for first through 3. The idea is we want to help those kids get up to speed so they can do well on the Ames test and obviously do better in their coursework as well. Okay, so the second portion of that would be letter grades. If a student is getting an F in a core class, math, language arts, reading, science, or social studies, the student would be required to do 4 hours of remediation for each failing grade at the end of first, second, third quarter. And then the last part, number 3, is that if a student has an F at the end of fourth quarter, then there would be 8 hours of remediation for the core course. In other words, we want to help kids get up to standard. And then it ends up coming down to individual decision-making between the teacher and the principal as to whether or not that student has earned the right to be promoted. Because if a student does not take part in interventions and does not meet those standards, there is the possibility of retention in grade level. Now, that's always been the case. We are just raising the stakes a little bit on saying we want to help you succeed and address your weak areas. And if you don't want to, if you just opt out of that, we're going to obviously communicate that well with parents. But if you opt out of that and you don't improve your letter grades, then we're going to reserve the right to retain you, which has always been the case by board policy, but this just makes it a little more explicit what the rules are, and kind of sets the expectation level from day one for students, communicating that to parents, and should result in good communication with parents and students about academic progress throughout the course of the year. You also notice that there are other options for the intervention. It could end up being taken care of by tutoring. It could be a Saturday school. It could be an additional course in lieu of an elective. It could be commercial tutoring if a parent wanted to do that. So there are some options. We want to work with families. We know that family might have a family trip at fall break, and we're going to work through that somehow. But we want kids to get some intervention so that they can get up to standard. Then also, this sheet also just makes clear that absences are also an expectation, and that's already the case. But 9 or more excused or unexcused absences could result in additional remediation. And there are some notes at the bottom that talk about the fact that the principal retains the ability to make judgment calls, because there are kids that, get hospitalized and those kinds of things we know. But anyway, this is the plan for the middle schools for next year. Just wanted you to know about it and wanted to make sure I could answer any questions you might have.
How would this affect the extracurricular activities like sports or the clubs and stuff after school if they're starting to fall? Does that affect their participation in that?
Well, we already have the grade checks to make sure you have a C average, I believe. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
But
so
a C average is a C average. You're talking in here any grade, or if they fall.
right. No, I think the intention would not be to interfere with the kids' extracurricular activities, to work through that. The actual remediation would take place at break time when supposedly it's not going to interfere with athletics and that kind of thing. So I think that's workable. I haven't got all the details figured out, and the principals are going to be in charge of that, but I think they're going to be cognizant of that issue, because we know that athletics, any activities, music, drama, any of those things are good for kids, and those are the kinds of things that help them stay in school and do well. So we want to complement that, and I think that's doable.
Okay, thank you.
As a parent, I love it. Because it gives concrete, you know what, here's what you've got to do. If you don't do it, you go to summer school. Bottom line, no questions asked. I'm not the bad guy anymore. It's a school. I love it. I think it's requiring that our students become accountable for their own education and their own success, and I think it gives them ownership. So I'm all for it. I love it.
But it says 6, 7, 8.
Yes.
So the elementary schools are going to implement this as well?
It would only be at middle schools. We just know that we have a few sixth graders in blended learning. So
Okay.
they'll be under that same guideline. So Vail's experience with this was that they've been doing it for a number of years. The first year, they had a handful of students that were retained that probably wouldn't have been retained under the old system. And then they said, and years after that, that number dropped off, and it's just something that basically students comply with, and parents too.
I think it's a great tool for parents. I really do. So, thank you.
Can you explain what a level 3 award is? What does that mean? What does?
It's going to be really cool, and that's all I know.
I mean, do we get a gift card or something? Yeah.
It's going to be up to the principals, and so they were excited about that. We thought about putting on paper what it was going to be, but they couldn't agree. So they're going to have different awards at each school, but
Okay.
it'll be something good.
Okay, good.
And that was going to be my comment. I agree with President Anderson that having that laid out for parents and students is important in terms of the students who aren't reaching their academic success. But I also like the fact that we're going to reward those students who are, and make a big deal about the positive, not just the negative. So I really like this plan a lot.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Hey, you're up on 6. Bring your own device.
Okay. As you know, Jack Walbrecht just left us as our tech director, did a great job for us for many years in that position, and his last day was June 30th, and he was working down to the last hour, and his biggest accomplishment actually was making sure that our wireless network was installed with Auction grant funds. So all 9 schools now have wireless, and so now we're working on getting access codes and all that, but he made that happen, so we appreciated that. The other thing that he's been working on for a couple months is a BYOD policy for students and staff. Bring your own device. And we've run this by our legal counsel, and we think that it is a thing that we need to start doing because students bring devices to school anyway, right? Large number of our students have smartphones, and you know the rules are you're not supposed to bring that phone out during class, but kids do have them, and those are pretty powerful tools, and we're not going to, I think, encourage students to bring them, but if they have them, they can use them. That's the idea, on the network for learning purposes. So there's a 2-page document, a form that has to be filled out. This is really basically what it says. Number one, it allows students to connect their personal devices to the MUSD network. And now that we have 9 schools with wireless, it's going to be available everywhere. Number two, approval must be granted by the principal and the parent guardian. And so the form has to be filled out, has to be signed. And obviously, you know, principals and assistant principals are pretty savvy about knowing which students, you know, maybe we shouldn't extend this privilege to. It will be monitored, yes. And number three, it says current antivirus software must be installed on that device. And then we've for years had a appropriate use agreement that students sign, and that continues with your own device. You can't go to inappropriate websites. Our websites, our network is filtered, but as you know, there's no filter that is 100% foolproof. And so that's just one of the rules. You can't go to inappropriate sites. If you do, then you can lose your privileges. And that's already the case with school district computers. So we think this will be a tool that we can use. The same privileges would be extended to staff, and you know, staff members like to use their own laptops and that kind of thing, and they have smartphones, and this opens up some options for them as well. So becoming pretty standard policy around the country, around the state for districts to do, and we think we want to try it and see how it works.
Statement that says they won't hold us liable for theft, damage, loss.
Well, that's going to be a definite
That's-
reminder, yes.
That's my concern with this.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's not going to be a situation where teachers will require students to bring devices to get their work done, but it's a tool that it's there, and we're thinking we can take advantage of it in an appropriate way.
Very nice.
I'm curious to see how it evolves.
Policies that in a few years everybody will be doing it. It won't even be something we think about, but it is something new in the meantime.
I'm excited. We're moving forward. We're actually, you know, becoming innovative as a district.
Now, does this have to go through our policy procedures, first reading, second reading, assign a policy?
Probably shouldn't have used the word policy on it. We're considering this an extension of our acceptable use policy that's already in place, an extension of it. So
it'd be an exhibit.
that's the direction we're taking with this thing.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Chestnut? Okay, moving on. Consent agenda, do I have a motion? Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 7A, Mr. Beckett, that's our HR schedule.
Thank you once again, President Anderson, members of the board. You have in front of you our personnel schedule for this evening. I believe there's an additional document that I had included as well as an explanation on the reclassification sections, and I will take your questions.
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
Anybody else have any questions?
I don't have
Seeing none. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that I communicated to the board in an email last week that our goal was to get all reclassifications on this agenda. Did I mention that?
Yes.
And we were unable to resolve a handful, and so we may bring additional reclassifications on the next agenda. So despite our best efforts, they're not all on there tonight.
But that would be it for the year.
That's the goal, yes.
Okay, we'll let it slide this time.
Okay.
Okay. All right, no questions for Mr. Beckett? Any motions?
Move to approve?
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Beckett.
Thank you.
7B, discussion on possible approval of resolution approving the argument of the governing board of MUSD 20 of Pinell County in connection with the district's special maintenance and operation budget override election, and ratifying all actions taken or to be taken to further this resolution. Dr. Chestnut.
It's a required step in the process for putting a override proposal on the ballot, and we need to pass this resolution and the accompanying letter. The letter is pretty much copied along the same lines as the letter that we had 2 years ago. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You know, it obviously asks people to vote yes. The board has the ability to do that. This is one of the rare times that we can do this on school time and in part of our regular business. But it outlines what the override is for, and 3 things we're asking for: up to 22 additional teachers, which will cost $1,100,000 annually; up to 3 additional support staff, which will cost $114,000 annual; additional instructional technology, which will cost $355,000; a total of $1,525,000 annually. And just spells out that as a 5% 7-year proposal, and the limit is 200 words, and even with your names and titles, it's 168. So gets in under the requirement.
In the letter, second paragraph, because I like things short and sweet and to the point, simpler the better. Is this going to confuse voters as to what we're doing? Does this second paragraph have to be in there? That's my, it's to me as a voter, it's confusing to me. It's too much, it's almost too much information. And then I lose the fact that really what I want to know is third paragraph, the proposed 5%. That's all I really want to know. So do we have to have that second paragraph in there?
I'm a fan of brevity, and yeah, I do not think that second paragraph has to be in there. It definitely can be edited in any way that you want.
Thoughts on that?
I agree. I would either move the third paragraph in front of the second paragraph or just remove the second paragraph altogether. But I think that third paragraph is the information that people really care about and is going to lead them, you know, more so than the second paragraph to support the override.
But I think it might benefit us to put something in there stating that, you know, that we're going for this because our legislation has taken away our funding and is not properly funding us. We'll have local control. There needs to be,
And moves for sins. Take that out. And it just will state, will no longer provide additional funding for district-sponsored schools after 2014-15 school year. An override is needed to replace this loss in revenue and continue making improvements for their students.
But I would still put that, and I agree, you remove the first sentence, leave the second sentence, but still I would put the second sentence under.
under the, yeah,
The third
move
paragraph.
that
Yeah.
third
Yeah, that'll
paragraph
work.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree.
I would prefer leaving the whole charter school thing out. I think it's confusing. That's just me. But
Or maybe we don't need to put charter in there, just say additional funding for this district,
Districts,
2014 through 15. We don't need to add charter schools or anything. So we could just say the state will no longer provide additional funding for the district after the 2014-15 school year, period. An
How-
override is needed for to replace this loss in revenue and continue making improvements for our students, period.
how many, honestly, when we look at this, this is what's going to be in the voter pamphlet, correct? How many people are really going to look at that versus what the committee's going to put out there as far as the information, the whatever commit, the Vote Yes committee? They're really going to be putting the message out with all the details, correct?
That's the plan.
So why don't we just put, just take out everything but an override is, well,
yeah, take out the whole second paragraph.
yeah, and because if the other stuff's going to be
Exactly.
out there,
About the state and the,
because
and
I
no additional
got to
funding.
be
and-
honest with you, most of the people, I don't even think will read this for argument in the voter pamphlet. They're more likely to read something that's put in the paper or something that's handed to them versus,
Yeah. The one
But
thing
I-
I want them to focus on is the very first line.
yeah.
We believe passage of the override will result in increased student achievement and improved student district and a stronger community. Bottom line, that's why we're doing it.
But I do think it's important to explain to them what we're going to use the money for, which is
And then,
the
yeah,
third
then leave
paragraph.
the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
jump down to the
Yeah.
proposed 5%. I mean, I would like taking that whole second paragraph out because it's just, to me, it sounds like a whiner.
That'd be my advice, either take the second
Second
paragraph
paragraph
out
out.
totally,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
move the second paragraph and make it the third paragraph.
I say take it out.
Take it out. Take it out.
I can agree with that. It's,
Because the
If you guys-
information, the information that people are going to read are going to be not on this, they're going to be getting it from other sources.
Yeah.
So are we in agreement? We don't need to vote on this, do we? We do need to vote on it, okay.
I can agree. That's fine.
Okay, so are we all in agreement that we want it to read without that second paragraph? Taking out, deleting the override approved by Maricopa voters, that whole paragraph?
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Chestnut, your thoughts? Okay. So with that paragraph taken out, are we okay with everything else it says?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve as amended with the second paragraph taken out? So moved. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. You got it. Now you can, it's official.
Thank you.
Okay. Good discussion. Thank you. Okay, 7C, discussion and possible approval of the first reading of the revision of the Governing Board Policy G3200, GCD, professional staff vacations and holidays. And since Mr. Beckett is getting up, I'm assuming he wants to say something.
I do not need to say anything, President Anderson. If you have any questions, though, I can certainly try to answer them.
We currently already practice this, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
We just don't have it in policy?
That is correct.
okay. Okay, any other questions for Mr. Beckett? Okay, any motions?
I move to approve the first reading of policy G3200 GCD, professional staff vacation and holidays.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 7D, discussion and possible approval of the first reading of the revision to Governing Board Policy G7500, GDD, support staff vacations and holidays. Mr. Beckett.
Once again, this is just a companion policy that mirrors for support staff what we just approved for professional staff.
Okay.
Sick days upon leaving or just vacation?
Yes, we do not. Actually, we do have a severance package that comes whenever an individual retires, and you have to be vested in the district at least 10 years, and then you earn a percentage for each year after that 10th year of that sick leave. But no, we do not grant sick leave.
It is.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, any other questions or motions on this item?
No questions.
Any motions?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, 7E. Thank you, Mr. Beckett. Discussion and possible approval of the superintendent contract for 2014 through 2016. Discussion or motions?
If there's no discussion,
Okay.
I move that the governing board vote to approve Steve Chestnut's continued employment as the district superintendent and approve the 2014-2016 superintendent contract for Dr. Chestnut that has been presented to the governing board tonight.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, 7F, discussion on possible approval of the superintendent performance pay plan for the 2014 through 2016 school years. Discussion or motions?
Okay, if no one has any discussion or motions, I move that the governing board vote to approve the 2014-16 performance pay plan for Steve Chestnut that has been presented to the governing board for approval tonight.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. It's a pleasure, Dr. Chestnut. Yeah, that's amazing. Now that that's all taken care of, I just want to say thank you for the last 2 years and bringing us where we're at. I'm very excited about where we're going, and the captain of the ship is a good one, so thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been fun, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 years as well.
So it's good. Whew. That's done. All right, that brings us to item 8, which is an adjournment. Do I have any motions? So moved. A motion and a second. No discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are now adjourned. It is 7:16. Our next meeting is not until August 13th. So, have a great summer.